distinguished experts from across housekeeping sectors. Ms. Pancham Narkar, Executive Housekeeper, Geo World Center. Mr. Rajashekhar S., Director Housekeeping, Hampstead Living Private Limited. Ms. Kritika Sharma, Assistant Executive Housekeeper, The St. Regis, Mumbai. And Mr. Adesh Podar, Executive Housekeeper, Conrad Pune. We would like to start with the first question to Mr. Rajshekhar. Sir, you ready? Mr. Rajshekhar, the question to you is, what is your opinion about the factors that we need to modify post the COVID operations? Over to you, sir.
Hi, good evening, everybody. Hope everybody can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Hope everybody is safe and good to start. It's a very good question to answer with. Starting with, I would put down about four factors what we need to adjust post COVID. That's what I'm going to talk about. And the first I would talk about time factor. That is one of the main factor what's going to be there for us. Uh, One is we all know we have a set standards about how many minutes we need to spend on each and every room, be it a occupied room, be it a departure room, and everything. And post the scenario, we may have to revisit the timelines. When we say 30 minutes to a departure room, it might not be possible from here on. So everything have to be worked around that. That's one of the point. The point number two would be the checkout rooms which is made ready for an occupying a new guest. The cleaning protocols what we need to have certain gap between the occupied room, the departure room, to a new occupied room. That is something we need to work around it. And also variation in the check-in checkout time. Typically in a hotel, I request everybody to put the mic on mute. Yeah. So, in our hotel, we have certain timelines for checkout and check-in. For example, we have 12 o'clock checkout and 3 o'clock check-in. If that is the timing, ideally what we go through, we may have to defer the timings. We may have to prepone the checkout timings. We may have to postpone the check-in timings so that we have enough of time between the preparation of the room. These are about the time factors. Now, coming back to product as a factor, we may have to introduce new set of cleaning products, cleaning chemicals, which would be required as a new protocol. That is one. Also, we will have to revisit the number of products available with us in terms of against the number of rooms, against the number of sections, what we need to talk about. That also need to be revisited. The use of appropriate means of protection for our cleaning staff, that is also equally important. So the PPE products are going to come in against a product factor. The hygienic cleaning of our trolleys and maintaining of the linen and everything, the carrying, the way we do it, all those also again come under the scanner. That will also become another factor for us. The number of toilet and the number of room products in case of higher demands, any extra towels, any extra items requirement, those also comes as another factor for us. Then we get into a service factor. The service factor, it has a lot of things to do with it. First and foremost is the late checkout service what we offer to the guest. So in a near future, the hotels may have to go away from this. The reason is, if you give a late checkout to somebody and if you have a back-to-back check-in, we might not be able to get the rooms ready in time. That is one of the factor we will have to keep in mind. The second one, the room cleaning services. Okay, do we need to do, how many times do we need to do? When the guest goes out and in, when the guest is not there in the room, do we need to do? All those also will come under a scanner right now with the new scenario. The cleaning services will become another factor. Also, there are few other support services which includes minibar restocking, maintenance and repairs, room service, butler service. All these services again have to be revisited. This also will fall under our service factor. The staff factor in terms of how we maintain our staff, the safety of our staff. Sorry, I'm just muting certain people who are not on mute. Yeah, the staff factor. One is that we need to educate our staff, and we also need to be taking care of their safety, which is equally physical safety as well as their emotional safety in terms of offering certain trainings, their behavioral change in terms of social distancing and everything. All that we need to take care. And at the same time, most of the time we go through is that the shortage of staff. Somebody has not turned in, somebody has resigned. All that also will become another factor for us, so which in the situation we may have to keep some additional staff. We will have to look at it. And the major one more factor is that attrition. When we have an attrition, when we have a new joinee, we will have to put in a similar type of energy to train them to maintain themselves in terms of uh, how do they maintain a social distancing, how do they have, what chemicals to be used, when do we use it. All those again becomes another challenge for us. So basically these are the four factors I wanted to talk under this question, which is time, product, service, and staff. Aarti, over to you.
Thank you. That was really lovely. So, post COVID, we're looking at changes in the four factors that you beautifully explained, particularly time, product, service, and staff. Moving on with the next one, we have Ms. Pancham Narkar. Ma'am, for you, the question is that in the given scenario, how are we prepared to ensure the safety of our team members?
Thank you, Aarti. Taking on from the conversation where Raj left, of course, we have to start looking at where we are doing a lot of changes for our people. We're going to look at our entire processes to be changed, our entire setup to be looked at, re-looked at completely. Our team members are our key players, which we need to be really clued on. It matters from the factor of keeping them emotionally safe, keeping them safe from the entire environment all around, and as well as how we manage them in the hotel itself. In the facility, in the premises, the first task remains how are we screening them? Are they safe? Are they coming in contact? I have seen at certain places where people come into contact while they're checking the temperature. The temperature modem is touched on the head, and even actually that surface touch is transferred. So our team is not safe there. That's something that we really need to look at as a first touch point. Screening them there, getting them inside the hotel, getting them to shower themselves. The personal hygiene routine has something that we need to ensure that all our uh, germs and infections or all the bacteria that we get in, we should leave them away, wash them off. These are small, small steps as baby steps that we say for the new normal, but these are something that we are ingrained at our hospitality industry way back. But now we need to ensure that we follow it to the T. We educate them how to wash their hands. We ensure that they follow it every now and then. So we could probably put up alarms at places where every hour there an alarm or a buzzer goes off reminding everyone just go wash your hands and sanitize them. This is very important to keep ourselves safe. And likewise, I would also say, we're talking about our touch point going to be varied from a room, from a linen, from a trolley, from a toy tray that we're picking out of a room. We're going to the corridor, touching the handrails, at the elevator. So, the touch points become too many for us. Now, while I know I, as an associate, have to take care of the guests, and I have to ensure that all the touch points are sanitized and clean and maintained for the guests, what am I doing for myself? My PPE introduction helps me a lot. Now, what does a PPE mean? A PPE does not mean only gloves. If I wear a glove and I'm using it at certain places and I'm wearing it over a period of time and not sanitizing the glove as well, then that PPE does not help me. Now, how am I safeguarding my team? I ensure that we give them a PPE every day, use them, and then throw them in a very uh, proper manner. We need to have these dustbins kept at certain places where these PPEs are discarded. You can't use a sweaty and a dirty UPG over a period of time. These are the factors that we really need to look into. While I talk about TP, I talk about them screening, I talk about them getting educated. We also touched about the point that they need to be emotionally taken care as well. There's so much of information that's getting followed about the coronavirus, about the COVID, all about the repercussions that are coming in the industry. People are getting laid off, their salaries are getting cut. These also affect a lot. If I come to know in my hotel, there's an isolation area getting decided on where people are going to come and stay there and they're going to be quarantined there, my first mental block comes in and puts me in mentally health puts me down. I need to take care that my mental health is also taken care. So while simultaneously, as managers, we need to take care and we talk to our associates and keep a continuous dialogue with them. If we do not do our dialogue with them, we don't know what's going on in the mind. And as many people have said it long back, earlier days, you know, you being ignorant to it may not hurt you so much. The moment you start thinking and thinking and thinking, you're killing yourself inside. That's what puts you down. Another task is for us as managers is to look at, like we would have attrition, we would have people who are falling sick, we would have people who have to work long hours. Now, is our sanity being maintained at that point in time? If we work on the ways of making the check-ins a little delayed, we giving a time to turn around, that also gives certain rest to certain employees to do the work a little more properly and diligently. So these are the safety parameters that we need to look at. That's what I would like to put. Over to
That's
you,
so
Anand.
beautifully put. Thank you, Pancham. It was really nice to hear the way you put in very, very crucial points, especially about the PPE, to discuss them, training. And I particularly like the bell every hour to wash your hands. I think that goes for all of us. And most importantly, the emotional and the mental well-being of our people. So thank you for that. Moving from people to processes, we have Mr. Moving from people to processes, we now have Mr. Adish Podar with the processes and what he recommends we should do with the processes going forward after this particular situation. So, Mr. Podar, over to you. Do we have Mr. Podar here? Mr. Adish Podar? Okay, Mr. Adish Podar, maybe he's not here. He'll be joining us very, very soon. In the meantime, I leave it open to one of our panelists. I can see Ms. Kritika Sharma, Mr. Raj Shekhar, and we just had Ms. Pancham Narkar. So what do you think, the panelists, what is your opinion? What are the new processes that you would recommend in this given scenario ahead?
Okay, Aarti, I'll take the question. Am I audible?
Yes.
Yeah. So I'll take that question. So it's going to be one is definitely the PPE, which is going to be the most important element for all of us, mainly for a team who is going to sort and segregate our linen. That's going to be one of the most important thing, because the linen is going to come out dirty. They're going to manage it. They're going to count it. They're going to load it into the washing machine. So at different level, we will have to try to minimize as much as possible. How do we manage it? How do we maintain it in all the level? Preferably limited to one or two people. Not everybody handles the linen, soil linen. And as Pancham has spoken, thermal checkups of each of our staff members, that's going to be another parameter which need to be taken care. Social distancing before, during, as well as after the finishing of work hours, be it our briefing areas, be it our place wherever we want to club them together for a various reason, those need to be taken care. At the same time, we have every hotel, every company has a set of standard operating procedures. We might have to revisit them as much as possible. Each and every step have to be revisited. There is nothing called there is an SOP and we will follow that. We will have to revisit all of them. The management, the including the management team of housekeeping, the other departments, which includes the executive housekeepers, assistant housekeepers, the facility managers, they will have to be regularly briefed by the healthcare professionals. That's one of the other suggestion what I would throw it out, because they would know the industry way better than any of us. Also, we may have to revisit the carpets and rugs in the room. Do we need to have a rug? That is one of the question which is going to come up in the situation what is going to arise from here on. And the new world may require the new color coded dustbins. There are many hotels are already doing it, but biohazard waste disposal is going to be another parameter what we need to discuss and take it forward. Also, at the same time, how these waste are going to be disposed, our regular garbage disposal vendors might not be able to take care of that. When we dispose the PPEs, how they are going to be taken care. Also, sanitizing station at each and every corner, wherever it is feasible, when we enter, when we walk around, outside the cafeteria, inside the cafeteria, wherever we want to bring in, we will have to bring in as many sanitizing stations as much as possible to make a sense of, hygiene practice. Isolation rooms might be a new mandatory in every, maybe every 50 room, maybe every 60 room. The hotels can come up with their own procedure, but isolation rooms are going to be another mandatory for all of us. And we might have existing schedules and frequencies. For example, we have weekly schedule, we have bi-monthly schedule, monthly schedule. All those might have to be revisited by everybody as per their convenience, as per their hotel and the regional geographical demands that need to be taken care as well. Likewise, we have a budget for guest supplies, cleaning supplies. We might have to bring up hygiene and sanitation budget. That is going to be one of the big parameters. We will have to hold certain amount for everybody to fight it out all these pandemic situation. That will be another scenario what we will have to look at as a process. Thank you, Arti.
Sorry. That was lovely. That was really well put and varied aspects of various processes that you mentioned, which is really nice. Thank you, Raj, for putting it in. Before I go ahead further with the next one, I request all of you to, all the audience, to come up with questions. We'll reserve it for later. And all the questions would be addressed by the panelists here. So we will answer late. Moving ahead, Ms. Kritika Sharma, who's with us from the St. Regis, Mumbai, would like to know from you, ma'am, with things and hygiene, what changes would you recommend in the soft furnishings?
Hi, namaste. Namaste is the new normal that all of us have to learn in hospitality because there's no more handshaking. So I'm quite learning that. All right. So soft furnishings, when I say soft furnishing in hotel, which are already operational or maybe they're shut down and they plan to reopen in baby steps. Honestly, there are majorly three things that all of us are worried that what to do with those sofas and curtains and carpets, because there's so much of ambiguity in the industry. The world is evolving and every day is a new theory. So before, I would really request everyone, before we come up or we learn or we try to implement any advice that is given by anyone, we must understand the entire chemistry behind this coronavirus. We must understand the basic working principle. All the viruses, all the chemicals that are being told, so they work in a very simple principle that they get onto the virus, they break, they encapsulate that virus, and hence the virus is dead, right? So that's the basic principle how Virex chemical is working. Any antiviral chemical is working. So now the issue with our sofas and with our cushions and our upholstery is that we do not really have the time to give it that reaction time. So first thing that we need to do in a hotel is we need to demark areas which will be used and demark areas which will not be used. For example, if it's a running restaurant, um considering the economy shutdown that we've had, we will open hotels with an occupancy of 30, 50, and then probably 100. So when we are having an average occupancy of 50%, I think the public area spacing, it has to be in section. People can choose to operate one section and then seat the next lot of guests in the other section, so that this section can be sanitized, and then henceforth and so on. We don't have the liberty to use a 100 covers restaurant as 100 covers restaurant. It has to operate like a 50 cover restaurant at any given point of time, so that we have the time to kill that virus, to treat that virus. So technically, I was in conversation with a lot of interior designers, and today morning I've had a conversation with the Indian Institute of Design Dean. So even the interior designers and the textile industry, entire fraternity is working to sort this out. But at this moment, when it comes to design, we really need to put in the social distancing norms. We need to spread all the furniture that we have. We need to get away with rugs, because again, the more surface, the more wool that you have on the floor, you are exposing yourself to further complications. So that's one thing. And when it comes to material, I mean, going forward, post this lockdown, when things will tend to get back to pavilion, there are few materials which are advised by the experts. For example, they highly advise furniture to be made by leather, because leather is comes with a coating of PV coating, which is almost the same kind of coating that our PPEs are coming from. So the only difference is that the coating on PPE fabric has elasticity and leather does not have elasticity, but the compound remains the same. So that tells me that leather is something that is safe and it is easy to disinfect. So that's one thing. One thing that is not highly advisable are plastics and glasses. So if like a hotel, if you're working at a 50%, if we can get away with plastic tabletops or glass tabletops, that will be perfect. We would have to replace it with wooden tabletops, wooden surfaces, because again, wood has an element called lignin fiber, which repels virus, any kind of virus. So industry, again, the furniture industry is hoping that it will repel COVID-19 to some extent. These things are not certified, but yes, speaking to the experts, this is what they recommend, that we should use more of wood, less of glass, less of plastic, and more of fabric is, as I told you, fabric is the first thing that was approved by everyone, by WHO also. One more thing, one more best practice going forward, if how feasible it is property to property, I'm not too sure, but one best practice that we can use is the same fabric that is used in PPE can be used below the upholstery fabric wherever they are installed. So because that's an insulation to your further layers in the upholstery. So that's one thing that can be used in the longer run. Also, now if I talk about how do I disinfect that particular upholstery, curtain, carpets, when we started the lockdown, especially, I mean, I'm still nostalgic because it's not very far. It was just 1.5 months back when we started lockdown, and the entire industry was very ambiguous as to what has to be done. There were a couple of guidelines that were rolled out by the experts that carpet needs to be removed. There's no solution to carpet. But now there are solutions to carpets. We have chemicals in the industry which are available, which can disinfect carpet, curtains, everything. Uh, Despite of the chemicals, you can also use a technology which uses UV light. Any technology which uses UV light can kill COVID-19. That is a proved study. And there are manufacturers in India, fortunately, which are manufacturing very actively from Chennai and Bangalore. And you can, I mean, they are cost effective also. They are further working on the cost, and you can use them to disinfect your sofas, your curtains, your carpets. But then the only challenge that will come is that we need to prevent people reusing those surfaces before disinfection. So that's something that we need to implement on the ops point of view. I think that kind of suffices the complications that comes to our brains when it comes to handling soft furniture. Thank you.
That's lovely, Kritika. Thank you. Thank you, Kritika. That was really elaborate and well studied. Thanks for putting light to a very, very sensitive issue. And as I was just browsing the chat, most of the questions that we have are to do with linen and soft furnishings and particularly laundry. So maybe if we have time later, we can have a short discussion on
Sure.
that as well if we've not covered it.
Sure.
Um, and as you were talking about antiviral chemicals, how they work and how we can use UV to kill the virus, I think that brings us to the next discussion that we will have with Raj here about the cleaning agents and the cleaning equipment that could be proposed to be more useful in the future. So over to you, Mr. Raj Shekhar.
Hi, Kritika. Hi, everybody. Hi, Aarti. Yeah, the chemicals, when I'll first go through the cleaning agents, then we'll get into the equipments. One, when we talk about chemicals, is there any new chemical some company have developed as on today, post COVID or anything? The answer is no, as on today. Whatever has been there, the same thing is coming out, in the sense they were used for a different purpose, they were used for a multiple other reason. They are getting used. There are many other hotels have opted for it earlier, but now it is mandate for everybody to opt for the same. One, definitely the disinfectant, the sanitizing agent, which is being used for a sanitizer, anywhere where we need to use, it'll have to be minimum of 70% alcohol content. That is one of the norm. I'm sure everybody is aware of it. And going by this, the new mantra is going to be, is it aesthetically clean? No, it's going to be clinically clean. That's what the new mantra is going to be from here on. And having said that, one of the major agent which is as on today being used in a high scenario is sodium hypochlorite. Though the name sound really complicated, it is not as complicated. It is the same chlorine what we use in the laundry. That's the same chlorine. It's a chlorine bleach. This is one of the very effective mechanism what everywhere the government uses it. Most of us also can use it, though it has an odor issue. Post that there will be an odor for some time. The next other very effective solution is hydrogen peroxide, which is H2O2. Again, this is an oxygen bleach which is used in the laundry. Based on the hydrogen peroxide, there are a lot of cleaning agents which are available. There are a lot of cleaning wipes which are available. So the hydrogen peroxide, even if you have it in your laundry, you can use it in a dilution ratio. You can use it for a cleaning purpose. The other agent, which is not visible to any of our eyes, which is going to be quaternary ammonium compounds. That's going to be another agent. This is extensively used in the hospital scenario, the pharmacy scenario, where these are used part of the sanitization equipments. This is highly sanitized, sanitizing a type of agent it is. So which would be very helpful again. When we come to the equipments, one of the common equipment which is being introduced today for the purpose of the entrance tunnel and other things. So basically, to sanitize your atmosphere, there are two equipments which are available as on today. One is mist fogger, which is commonly used by the pest control agencies earlier, but right now we can use the same with the sanitizing agent on it. The other one being electrostatic sprayers. So electrostatic sprayers, through it's both of them works in the same condition, but electrostatic sprayer throw the mist with some kind of electrostatic power, so they get stuck to the area surface for certain time, so that they become very effective for all of us. The other equipment what might be available for us is ozonizer, which in older days, about 10 years back, was extensively used in the hotel industry. This basically converts the oxygen which is in the air, it gets converted into a O3, which is ozone. It is very effective to killing your odor. That was one of the main reason it was used. At the same time, it is very effective in killing the moisture related, the air related, airborne diseases, whatever is going to come from there on. And one more thing, one is we are going to talk about we are cleaning, we are cleaning, we are cleaning. How we are going to measure it? That is where the ATP comes in place. ATP meter, I'm sure many of you aware, that might have to kick in right now. The adenosine triphosphate, that's how it is. In a simple term, it's a swab test. So one is that you will have to test and understand how clean are you. The second way is that you can also communicate to your guest saying that we are this much clean, we can do this, our number is this, our score is this. So we can start educating the client. We can also start exposing ourselves saying that we are this much clean. If there is still a situation, we can rectify it post that. Some of the other common things for the public area and other places are going to be the contactless dispensers and taps in the bathroom, in the sanitizing dispenser, soap dispenser. Basically, they are sensor based. That's going to be another new era which is going to kick in from here on. Color coded dusters and mops, though most of us are aware, not many industry, not many hotels are using it. That might become a new mandate requirement for all of us. And the last but not the least, the steam cleaners. The steam cleaners which are used for mopping, which are used for cleaning the bathroom, which are used for cleaning the grouts and things like that, those are going to be very effective in killing the floor based contamination. That's going to be very effective for us as well.
Wow, that was really good. Clinically clean, so it should be moving ahead. As I can see, Mr. Adesh Pudar has also joined us. So you're so welcome to him as well. We are now moving to Ms. Pancham Narkar. The question that we have for you, Ms. Narkar, is that can every employee, at this point, become a housekeeper in order to fight the pandemic?
Hi, Aarti. Um, this is such a question that we as housekeepers love it. We keep telling everyone that, it's not a housekeeper's job to keep it clean. It's a job that everyone can pitch in. Everyone has to put in that value. Now, why and how do I have to only stress it as a pandemic? I would stress it every day. I would tell them that this is a task that everyone has to maintain. You keep your area clean, that's a simple thing. There was a mantra all long back that we all used to say, clean as you go. I drop it, I clean it. I look at it, I account for it, or I tell somebody and I call up for help. If I can't clean it, I call somebody, but I don't ignore it. That's what is a simple funda that we want even today to follow. You need to ensure that your areas are clean, your areas are clutterless. If I clutter it completely, that is the number of touch points that I increase to sanitize and disinfect. Like we say, we need to ensure we need to have a touch point view. There are many aspects that we can introduce, like Raj was talking, having a tunnel there, you can do steam cleaning, do all that aspects that's agreeable. That's definitely there. But as a project, we can also add certain more things. You can have, those sensor-based doors placed where my one more touch point gets abused, where instead of me touching and 100 more people touching it and spreading the pandemic decreases completely if it's a sensor-based door. That's something that we can look at also. I'm just saying this is a point because there's so many things that I wanted to say which Raj has already covered up. So this is something that I thought is okay, the point that we missed out, that we can add on. Apart from this, as we team members, social distancing is something that is so important for us. We as friends, we go, shake hands, we'll give a hug, we'll say hi, five. That's all now, all away. The new normal is namaste. As Kritika said, namaste is join your hands, say namaste, and that's a greeting. You no more shake hands, you no more give hugs, you nobody, you're not touching anybody. And, we are Atithi Devo Bhavo. We say, my cooked home food, I want to share with you. That's a no. You can't do it anymore. Be to yourself, be safe, let the other person be safe. That's how we need to. When I go back to office, we as friends will come together, we will all have food, and that's not how it works. Each one has to maintain that. Social distancing is our key aspect. Our aspect is no more sharing. Meetings should be a little more apart. when I'm in a scenario where I'm going to meet people, as hospitality, we love to meet people. We go say hi to the guests, we go talk to them. But now it's going to be more contactless. It's going to be a little more farther away. We have to maintain the distance between us. We need to be more on electronic talking or via email. I would love to do my personal touch, but that personal touch cannot be any more now there. It can be by cleaning and maintaining and disinfecting, by ensuring that I remove my garbage and throw it in proper segregated cans. I ensure that I help the other person also the same way. So housekeeping doesn't mean that housekeeping attendant has to do it all. It's all about each one to do it. You know, uh, it's all about if I am unwell, I ensure that I don't go to work. So these all things are actually interlinked. And that's how we all can become housekeepers and we all can work it together. That's what I would like. Aarti?
Hi, that is so true and very well said. All of us have a role to play here, and it can't be left to housekeeping alone. I guess that there's something that we're trying to fight for a long time, and it's going to be a reality soon, the way things are. And the contactless dispensers is something that we all are waiting for. My next is to Mr. Adesh Podar. My next is to Mr. Adesh Podar. I would like to hear from you, sir. How can artificial intelligence and technology help housekeeping, especially in the situation that we are in?
Good evening to all. Sorry for being late. It's an interesting topic. Artificial intelligence, for one, is one thing that is slowly moving into the industry. Uh, at the present moment, in order to take care and be more doing a detailed cleaning, artificial intelligence in form of automated robots which do the vacuum cleaning would be more seen, because the kind of cleaning that would be expected now from everyone, the guests themselves, and by our team members across the board, would one that is very detailed. There at present, if we look into the industry, there are robots, automated robot cleaners. We take care, we ensure that all the area in a particular room is properly cleaned. In laundry as well, there are new technologies that are coming across, which are ensuring that the kind of linen that we turn around are both hygienically and are properly disinfected. These are the two things I feel would be coming down soon and would help us achieve a better cleanliness level.
Thank you, Mr. Podar. That is so true. Robo cleaning is going to be the future. We already have started, but it's going to be the new norm, the new normal in the housekeeping 2.0 as we speak. Also, along with the contactless service, we probably would have more goldfish kept in the room for company. So the human contact is really going to go less, and technology is going to take over in a lot more aspects as far as cleaning is concerned. Um, I have another question. It's going to be the last question, and that would be to Ms. Kritika Sharma. After this question to Kritika, we will leave the house open for questions from the audiences. We see a lot of questions in the chat box, and we probably have a little bit time left for that, and we discuss it with the panelists. So, Kritika, my question to you would be that when we are, give me a moment. How, in your opinion, and this is an important one for all of us, how do you think the room amenities are going to change? Is there going to be any change in the amenities that we place in-house in the room? Kritika.
Uh, this is definitely a question that is ringing around the corner for all of us. In fact, for all the brands, for that matter, it has gone beyond housekeeping. The brands are working towards it, because when we as brands, we really highly rely on our brand standards, and all the brand standards will have to be revised. Uh, However, for smaller hotels who have the liberty to play around their brand standards, there are a lot of insights that are going around, and I personally think, and like how I have implemented things at my property, we need to work on the basic principle, that what we are trying to achieve out of it. The only thing that we are trying to achieve out of it is the cross contamination from surfaces. So we if we imply the same principle to the guest room, so I mean a guest checks out and the other one comes in, and we just don't want the other guest to get what the previous one left. That's the agenda behind it. So we need to dissect the room into two zones, which is high touch point and a low touch point, because fortunately or unfortunately we are in a business wherein we cannot go 100% clutter free. With the kind of areas that we fetch from the market, that's we cannot go 100% clutter free. For me, it's very convenient to clear the entire tabletop and say, what, I am 100% clean, because it's just a glass tabletop. But on the practical grounds, it's not possible. So based on the structure of the guest rooms, or based on the branding of the hotel, from premium to luxury to select service, we can identify the high risk areas and the low risk areas. High risk areas being the remote controls, the telephone receivers, the wash basin tap, the shower knob, the WC jet. So all these are high risk areas, and there are few low risk areas like bedside, like the drawers above the wardrobe. So all those areas, we need to find a protocol based on that principle. However, there were few best practices that the renowned brands have come up
Hi, Kritika, you there?
with
Kritika?
that. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now. Thanks.
So sorry for the disruption. So we can get away with actually technically all the collaterals. They can go digital, but again, it depends on the branding of the hotel. But then yes, based on the sanitization standard, all the collaterals in the room can go digital, right from your in-room dining menu, right from your magazines. Everything can go digital. So we can get away with all the collaterals. Uh, High sensitive areas like bathrobes can be on call, but yes, again, it's a brand specific thing. We as a brand have to take a decision, that are we ready to limit our services, because we are risking our ADRs also at the same time. So that's something that can be put across. Fruits can be on call, that is 100%. Also, coming back from the experience of lockdown, I started I'm in the hotel. I've experienced the lockdown. We are having an occupancy of around 25%, and we are almost fetching an ADR of 10,000 a day, which is in this lockdown as well. So coming back from that, there are a lot of guests who are wanting to stay in silo, and this trend will prolong. Nobody, people, even if people start traveling for work, for leisure, they would want to be in their own zones. So we need to come up with a lot of amenities which kind of suffice their solidarity. In-room amenities, like how Adish said, that a fish, maybe a fish can just entertain the guests. People have switched to board games. People have switched to reading books. So we as hoteliers, we need to be wired, because these were the concepts which were obsolete. They were almost gone from our trends. But now there are guests who are coming back to us, and they are asking, and we need to be updated with that. So that's one thing. Also, I was doing a research on the cut flowers. I think cut flowers, there is no specific study that if a coronavirus is on the cut flower, and will it go, will it not go. There is no this That's a very ambiguous corner at the moment. So I think till the time we get clarity, we need to switch to live plants in the room, so that we are on the safer zone. And that's a very big time recommendation, that we need to get away with cut flowers in the rooms in case we are placing them. Also, minibar menu. guests now again, I mean, for a luxury business or maybe for a premium business, guests are wanting to have packaged food served in their room itself, and it becomes little tedious for a hotel to cater to individual specific requests. So maybe a minibar menu can be extensive, including further packaged products, and it can be on call. So I think that menu itself is should suffice the silo that a guest is intending to spend in that room, apart from the sanitization, for sure.
Uh, Wow, you touched upon many points. There's a lot we can do, and this is only the tip of the iceberg. And as we go, we'll see a lot of changes happening all around. To be very honest and without sounding patronizing, I think discussion that we've had today so far has been not only invigorating, but a lot of ideas have rolled out, and that's really a good sign. So it's very worthwhile for me to be here today, hosting and getting to hear from all of you all. Now that I'm done with my bag full of questions, I'd like to leave the forum open to the audiences. So anyone who'd like to ask a question, you're free to unmute yourself and ask the question here to all four panelists.
Yes, ma'am, I want to ask question. Actually, can you
Yes,
brief
sir,
about
please go
the
ahead.
please, can you brief about the timing, from occupied to departure and departure to occupied room? Suppose someone occupied and he departure, then after how much time, 24-hour or more than that, we have to vacate the room, and then we'll make out, check means make it occupied.
I'll take that question, Aarti.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So, Sanjay, it's a good question. I don't think so. There is any written rule as on today have been formed, but obviously the departure have to be made as quickly as possible. That's what in the industry we are in. We will not be able to hold a room for 24 hours. That's not going to happen for us. Uh, Ideally, we will have to use all the possible personal protective equipments which is required to be safe. Post that, what we will have to do is that the ideal timeline, what has been suggested by industry experts, is that give minimum of 3 hours gap after making a room till the time the new guest occupies. Try to give a gap of 3 hours of time. That's what the only known that guideline what has come from experts.
Thank you, sir.
just just to add on to this point, the fact that they say that it is 3 hours, because if we choose to miss every room that departs, miss when I say miss, that means if we choose to miss a room with the antiviral chemical, the required time for it to react 100% is 1.5 hours, and further the turnaround time, and hence we will need around 2.5 to 3 hours to make one room and say that it is 100% disinfected.
I think there's a little bit disturbance here, but yes, I hope, Mr. Sanjay, you've got an answer to the question from both the panelists. In fact, Raj had mentioned that the first factor when he started talking about things ahead is the time, the check-in, check-out time. Um, can we have another question, or should we go through the chat and panelists are free to answer the question of their choice? One of the questions here is on the in-room entertainment, which has already been handled. AI also has been handled. Can we have any more questions, please, here from the audiences?
Yeah, there's one question on the chart about an electrostatic sprayer, how helpful it's going to be. Uh, it is an experiment which is happening, and I will not be able to give an answer how 100% it is going to be, but I will be able to give an answer why it is effective. It can reach the hard to reach places if you position it right. It can reach a place where your toothbrush cannot reach. It's that effective. So which means we will be able to reach out to the corners, grooves, if there is a ledges, if there are lures. This would be very effective. That is one of the reason the industry is suggesting it. And it reduces your time. If you try to apply something by your hand, it's going to take a lot of time, wherein this sprayer does most of the things.
That's well answered. I'm caught on actually by a question here by Ms. Trupti Mahajan. This is on employment, about how AI is going to take over jobs, yes or no? And importantly, I mean, I come from an education institute. How will it affect job placements for the students in the current year? For industrial training, there's another question from Ms. Annu Pillai on the same, on industrial training, on them getting jobs, you know. And that is a common concern right now, I'm sure, amongst people who are working, employees, associates across board, and especially those who are embarking upon their professional life. So how about employment issues and insecurity?
Well, in that particular aspect, I would say in the, and on a whole scope, there will be a certain impact of would be every industry, every hotel or brand would be encouraging contactless check-in. There was before this particular COVID, there was in-room check-in that was very prevalent. We used to escort our guests to the respective rooms and get the guest checked in. Now, at this point, we would encourage guests to share their documentation over the email or over the WhatsApp. We would encourage them to do a direct check-in. For example, Hilton as a brand has direct keyless entry. The key itself is generated on the respective mobiles, and the guests are intimated once the room is ready, and they can walk into the room directly with the help of the key. This is exactly what the rest of the brands will try to do, so that there is less interaction between the guest and between the associates. Now, in such a scenario, there would be an impact, but coming to housekeeping, the technology in regards to housekeeping is not at such a stage that it would impact the housekeeping jobs, especially post-COVID.
That's very assuring to hear that the jobs will not be impacted as much, you know, and it's only time that will tell, but we'd be very hopeful on this. And the keyless entry that Hilton is following is really nice to know. I'm sure more hotels will follow suit. Can we look at more questions? Do we have time for that, to look at more questions? Maybe a couple of minutes. Do we have any more questions?
Yeah, ma'am, actually, I want to ask one more question.
Yes, sir, please.
What about the temperature, room temperature of room, ma'am? I'm asking about room
Okay,
temperature.
Sanjay.
Yes, sir.
Yes, we have
Sanjay,
your
I
question.
will answer the question. Yeah, I'll answer your question. The ideal temperature to maintain an ideal humid level in the room, it's going to be 24 to 27. That's an ideal temperature, what even the government of India has suggested that. The reason is there has to be certain amount of humidity which is there in the room that will help in slow down of the spread of virus. That's what the scientific reason says. The heat and humidity is going to go negative towards the pandemic situation. So ideal situation is 24 to 27. Anywhere if you go below 24, 23, 22, the humid level is going to reduce. The air is going to become more dry. So it will be difficult to breathe as well. So the ideal temperature is 24 to 27.
Thank you, sir.
So that was thank you, sir. Very specific answer there, and it did satisfy the query. I'll look up a question on the chat by Mr. Ajinkya Ghate. If he's here, he can ask this question. Very interesting one. Will mid-segment hotels be able to accommodate the extra cost for sanitization, or will guests have to pay a higher price for the same? So this is specifically for the mid-segment hotels. So the sanitization has a cost, and who bears the cost is the question. I leave it open for any of the panelists here.
I'll take it again. It's an unfortunate situation for everybody, I believe, and the mid segment or high segment, low segment. I think everybody has to opt for a healthy sanitation process. That is a mandate. If we don't follow, we might face a backlog. We might face, low occupancy. To achieve certain occupancy, to achieve a certain GOP, we will have to put in that effort of bringing in the new sanitation segment. Regarding the pricing, I would leave it to the hotel to decide, because it's up to you what the market demands, how you want to position yourself, and what equipment you want to use it. Do you want to use a mist fogger? Do you want to use a electrostatic sprayer? There is a difference. Do you want to use a hydrogen peroxide? Do you want to use a sodium hypochlorite? There is a difference. So there are options available. So I'm sure the hotels would be able to adopt to that.
So essentially, we
I
look at hotels
completely agree on
absorbing
that.
the cost. It's an important cost.
I completely agree with Rajshekar, but only what I would like to add is that at the present moment, uh, it is the guest who will be looking forward from every segment, be it a low budget or any kind of segment. They themselves would be, if we are able, if we need to gain the trust of the guest, and if we want to get them back to our hotels, the action will have to be taken, and this kind of trust would have to can only be gained if we ensure that proper sanitization, clinical sanitization is carried out.
Right, sir. I would like to take up this last question, which is posted in the chat by Ms. Trupti Mahajan, talking about the cost. What are the points to be considered while planning and modifying the budget for the current financial year? So, are there going to be any considerations while planning the budget? Is the question.
I'll take that. Trupti,
Sure.
can you hear me? Yeah. So as we said that of course we have to look at sanitization and hygiene as a new normal and a process that we need to really do it in our processes. And just a while back, Raj was explaining it's a choice of chemicals or sanitizers and disinfectants that we choose to utilize in our property. Of course, this is going to be a new standard. While we've seen in our PNLs that we have a different options of cleaning agents, we have a cleaning supplies, we will have to put in a area for disinfection. We will have to appoint a lot of sanitizers, a lot of places. We will have to put up more on hand washing, so your cost will go up there. And that has to be added into our budget, definitely. And I'm sure that given a pace and standard where we want to get our businesses right, we want to safeguard our people, we will definitely, no owner, no company will say no to it. It's just that as housekeepers, we will have to look at options. And of course, with growing time, today it's lesser chemicals and lesser options available. But I'm sure with time to come, there will be people coming with more and more add-ons because this is the new industry that's going to grow. So that will be a new normal for us.
I think all of us, yes, agree here with Pancham, with what she said. We are just about time and it's time to close. Can I just call out anyone for the last question for the evening? Okay. Since we have satisfactorily, I hope, answered all the questions, we would like to conclude. But before that, I'd like to invite upon today's sponsor, Mr. Abasaheb Saluke, if he's here, to kindly share his impressions. Mr. Abasaheb Saluke from DNS.
Yeah, hello, ma'am.
Hello, sir.
Yeah. Thank you all the panelists that being a service partner of many corporates and the business tycoon. It's a very informative session and we are very happy. We as a service provider, we are also working on many factors because we are in a service where we provide some man force and like the job is coming up with a big question for the housekeepers, janitors, that level question. So we are training our team members, and we are assuring our all the partners and future partners that we will give a cost-effective as well as a trained housekeepers. We are learning. We are also giving a cost-effective and shared services, because cost is going to be the biggest challenge for both the for the service for partners as well as companies. So we believe that any kind of man-force services that we are currently providing, and as they say, necessity is the mother of invention. So we are innovating our services that we can give cost effective as well as beneficial for the industry.
Thank you, Mr. Saluke, for that assurance, very needed. And especially thank you for supporting a forum like